Hello and welcome to Will Watches. This is Dark, Season 2, Episode 4. So last episode we learned that Agnes was part of the Sigmundus Society and is actually siblings with Noah, which is pretty crazy. The connections, just ridiculous. And then whatever is going on with the last pages of the notebook, and somehow it connects to Charlotte, which is really interesting. You know, we haven't seen what obviously Charlotte knows about the time travel and she's been investigating it, but why does that make her important in all of this? We haven't seen what Charlotte does like in the future events. I don't know if she's still even around in 2052, maybe not, but what happens in between? Is there something she does in between that is really important, or is there something that she has already done in the past that is really important in all of this? Who knows? So I'm really interested to find that out. So before we jump into this, be sure to check out the Patreon page. Over there you can find 1 week early access, so you can get next week's video right now. You can also find polls so you can vote for what's next, and you can find a full-length timer-based version of this where you just sync up your own footage and you can watch along with me. So yeah, let's just jump right in. Back in this field again. Oh! This is where he came through. Okay, glad we're finally catching up with him. This looks like it could be like 86. This is almost like the field where Regina and Alexander first met, where that like tower is that we've seen Helga camping out at before. Okay, he's real beat up, but he is here. Wherever this is. Oh, is this 1921? Could he run into Noah?
Ich will nur nach Hause.
Vielleicht ist er ein Heimkehrer.
We haven't seen much of this time period. If it is, we've literally only seen that like little Noah origin.
Hast du Essen vertragen?
Das passt schon, danke.
Unsinn. Diana hat ein Herz für so welche wie dich. Komm.
No. Okay, new characters. They are actually being helpful as well, though. They're not just outing him straight away. Is this 21? Or is it even earlier? Oh no, someone's died. They haven't mysteriously died and they'll blame it on the new stranger coming into town, you know?
Agnes, geh und sag Erna Bescheid.
Very young Agnes. What's the age difference between Agnes and Noah? And is Erna the mother then?
Sag deinem Bruder, soll die Kammer herrichten. Aber nur
Does Noah know who he is? This is the younger Noah though, so maybe not.
haben sie aber ganz ordentlich zugerichtet, was? 1921.
Okay, it's 21. Yeah, I was wondering because Agnes looks so young there, but if it was any point before, it's just because Noah was a bit older. So how's he going to get out of this? Because the power plant doesn't even exist at this point. He'll need to find a time machine here to get out of here. Because he can't even crawl through the caves. And also I realised, well, I was told through comments that, yeah, the caves won't even work at this point because the stranger collapsed all of it. So no one can like time travel through the caves anymore, really. But because that's like, it's also weird, you know, chronologically for us as an audience, no one can do that anymore, but no one can do that at any point in time anymore, you know? I guess if the stranger knows that Jonas is here because he's experienced this before, he can go and save him. That could be a way out of this. That seems quite logical, actually. I don't know where a time machine would be here in 21.
Tut mir etwas anderes.
Yeah, I was thinking Jonas isn't even here at this point, is he? Yeah, missing the love of your life for 6 months, no idea where.
Hat sich krank gemeldet.
Was hat sie denn?
Das hat sie nicht gesagt.
Moment mal.
It's a bit comedic, the constant opening of the door.
Sie haben doch ein Auto. Wunderbar.
Yeah, does Clausen not have a car? He's kind of always asking for lifts, isn't he? Or is it an opportunity to talk with people, investigate? Charlotte, what are you doing? How are you tied into all of this? Oh, blueprints for the time machine. Yeah, passed down from Tannhaus. Going through your granddad's old stuff. Oh, Hannah and the stranger are back here now, back in 2020. That's great because we've always seen that scar on his neck since the beginning. That payoff, but then there's all these scars on his back as well, where do they come from?
Wer ist es?
Das ist kompliziert.
He deserves to know at this point. Yeah, could Boris be key in any of this? That knowledge that Alexander is actually Boris could change things.
Endlich rausfinden, was Sache ist.
Ist es in die Höhlen?
Going into the caves.
Kannst ja hier bleiben.
But we didn't actually get to see him meet Noah, if they have met yet.
Du hast fast 24 Stunden geschlafen.
Das hier ist nicht richtig.
Ich hatte dich mir anders vorgestellt.
This Noah does know, doesn't he? Because they were digging the tunnel earlier.
Warum hast du das gerade gesagt? Was soll das heißen?
He already knows who he is. Yeah. They're still keeping us in the dark a bit. The tattoo. Well, he'll recognize the symbol.
Sigmundus Creatus est.
Yeah, how much does he know about the cult or the society? Because he's heard everyone say Sigmundus Creatus est in the future, the far, far future, but does he know much about that?
Bin auf der Suche nach jemandem. Sie hat hier früher gearbeitet. Ist schon eine Weile her. Tiedemann. Claudia Tiedemann.
Gibt es nur einen Tiedemann, Alexander Tiedemann, der leitet das Werk.
Alexander Tiedemann.
Yeah, she's in modern day here.
Nach Fukushima sind die Sicherheitsstandards gestiegen. Ich kann hier nicht einfach jeden reinspazieren lassen.
Yeah, he could just disguise everything as safety standards.
Sie sind 86 nach Winden gekommen. Zu derselben Zeit, als der Junge verschwunden ist. Mats Nielsen.
Oh, he came at the same time. Okay. Is he onto him? He's just like prodding around, finding inconsistencies in people's stories.
Den Namen am Leben erhalten.
Wie ist Ihr richtiger Name?
Köhler.
Oh, change it. Cooler, not Nearworld. Thinking on his feet though, he probably had that in his head for a while, that lie.
Hannah Kahnwald.
If they're gonna go see Hannah, then the stranger's gonna be there. What are they gonna think of that?
Mit einem Fremdenpass.
Das ist eine Versicherung.
They're calling him older Jonas here, not the stranger. I'm still gonna refer to him as the stranger because it's easier.
Du erpresst jemanden. Wer bist du eigentlich?
He's only just finding out. This is just the surface.
Wer bist du?
Charlotte's gonna be here at the same time, maybe as Clausen and Waller show up.
Ich weiß, das macht alles überhaupt keinen Sinn, aber das ist Jonas. Er ist...
She's already told her.
Du bist der Mann aus dem Hotel, von dem Regina erzählt hat.
Oh, everyone's finding out so much now.
Wer sind diese Menschen?
Oh, please, let's hear a bit more about Sigmundus.
Zu wem?
Zu Sigmundus.
The Travelers, okay. They're all travelers.
Es gibt da etwas, das ihr beide sehen solltet.
Oh, I love this. Just the unraveling of everything. Now the kid's going to the cave. I'm not sure I like this with Elizabeth here because, you know, she can't yell out if something happens. I don't know if she does she have the capacity to like yell if she's like something happened, or is she completely mute?
Du machst, was ich dir sage. Okay?
Again, the casting, they do look like siblings, don't they?
Wo kann ich Artikel und Veröffentlichungen der letzten 30 Jahre finden?
Das ist alles digitalisiert.
Does she know how to use that?
Und wo finde ich das?
Learning about the new age. She got to observe what everyone else around her, what they're doing. Yeah, there's no mouse or keyboard. Nothing at all. This is quite fun. Yeah, she's getting the grasp of it, you know? So people wouldn't catch on to that quick. Is she gonna start writing a book though, you know, with all that history?
Ich hat hier niemand verstanden, warum sie ihn geheiratet hat. Sie ist sehr hübsch. Hätte jeden haben können.
I mean, she still could have.
Ulrich Nielsen.
Yeah, she still did have who she wanted.
Sonderkommission. Haben Sie sich das freiwillig ausgesucht?
Oh ja.
Okay, you volunteered for this. Has he got some personal connection, you know? My theory is that he could be part of Sigmundus and is investigating all of this on their behalf, you know?
Sie kannte die genauen Zeiten und wann das passiert. Es hat keinen Sinn gemacht. Und gleichzeitig den einzigen.
How much does the stranger know about Claudia? I mean, how much is he gonna tell them?
Dinge über Zeitreisen. Zeichnungen, Tabellen, wir haben es nicht ganz verstanden.
The missing pages.
Weiß Katharina davon? Ihr müsst es ihr sagen.
Everyone's in the know. I love this. Oh, look at that, the younger Alexander. Is she gonna run into Regina, you know? What happened to Dad? Ah, that's really close then. I'm forgetting the exact date that it was right now, but it was in June. We're in very close to that. Look at this. It's great how they can visually distinguish the different time periods. Like just the colour grading, they make this look different. It's almost a bit ethereal, like the bloom and with the trees, the way the sun's coming through the trees. Not been built yet.
Ich träume manchmal von ihm. Jonas.
I mean, imagine if he did come through and bumped into all of them again.
Glaubst du, er wusste irgendwas? Bevor er verschwunden ist. Dass er etwas rausgefunden hat, was er nicht rausfinden sollte.
Yeah, they think he was taken away because of that. I'm thinking like, what if there's something more to her dreams? Like in some time travel shows, people can dream and they can see the future or see the past through their dreams. Is she like dreaming of something that's going to happen or something along those lines, you know?
Charlotte, wohin fahren wir?
Es ist einfacher zu erklären, wenn ich dir zeige.
This will be great for her though. Yeah, her mind's just running wild like, oh, is it Ulrich's body? Is it something? The kids?
Wir haben sie gefunden. Beide. Sie sind nicht tot. Sie leben. Aber sie sind nicht hier.
Yeah, it's so hard to explain.
Sie leben, sie sind nicht hier.
Es ist besser, wenn du es mit deinen eigenen Augen siehst.
I mean, if everyone here starts to time travel, imagine that. She goes to see Ulrich, goes to see Mikkel.
Aber da war etwas in den Höhlen. Eine Art Riss
In der Zeit.
Hair in the fabric of time.
Wollt ihr mich verarschen?
Yeah, she doesn't believe it at all. Not as accepting of it, of course. Everyone's gonna react differently.
Was soll die Scheiße hier? Wo sind
Ah.
Mike und Ulrich? Katharina, es stimmt, was sie sagt. Du hältst deine Fresse!
I'm just worried, you know, she's gonna react really negatively here and start ripping stuff down, you know?
Wer bist denn du? Bist du ihr Neuer?
Ich bin Jonas. Ihr Sohn.
This is the proof you need. Yeah, he's physical proof. The Ouroboros, but no red rope guiding. You know, we have seen before Ulrich and Mikkel, they almost talk to each other through the door. I wonder if Jonas can talk to them. Obviously the door won't be there yet for him though. But will there be like these echoes through time that he can communicate with them? And are those echoes what Martha is dreaming of as well, you know?
Was ist das?
Da ist wer. Los, los, los.
Okay. Oh. Bartosz talking to Noah.
Was machst du hier?
What's in his suitcase there?
Ich kann's einfach nicht fassen, dass ihr ihm diese ganze Scheiße abnehmt. Was willst denn du?
Yeah, she thinks if he's faking it all, why would he?
Ich war da. Ich habe ihn gesehen. Mikkel.
Yeah, they have a time machine. Let's go show her it. Show her firsthand, then she'll definitely believe it. Yeah, it's only natural that she won't believe it, but there could be a chance that now that she has this seed, she might investigate it herself and find her own information and confirmation. It's so funny seeing this mirroring, because we've seen this exact scene before with Jonas with the super futuristic light, you know? There's no wind like before. Yeah, it's just gonna crawl into nothing. What choice does he have here? Can he like work with Noah a little bit? But Noah seems to already know him and hate him. Oh wow. That's right. Not just talk to Bartosz, you know, they're really tying him up and everything.
Lass das! Mann, jetzt sag uns einfach, warum du hier bist!
He can't tell them though.
Komm mal her.
Ooh. They're not accidentally gonna activate it, are they?
Wenn du mit Mikkel oder Papa irgendwas zu tun hast, dann bringe ich dich um.
I mean, he does have something to do with it, but not like as directly.
Packen wir ein.
Und den?
Den lassen wir hier.
Leave him here to die?
Das kannst du nicht machen! Hey, Scheiße.
I thought he might have name dropped Noah and Elizabeth would, well, she obviously couldn't hear him name drop him though. I thought it'd be like, don't take it, Noah's gonna kill me, and that will reveal something. So we've got the kids investigating separately to the adults. They have the time machine now, they could come together and it would all work out, maybe.
Aber Sie dürfen das niemandem weitererzählen.
An embarrassing story or an unbelievable story?
Also, letzten Sommer ist Folgendes.
Oh! Will we ever actually find out? Was that just them fucking with us? Anyone recognize her? Oh! See the photo of Mikkel at the school from the 80s? There we go. The relief though, knowing that he's actually okay. Just what must be the emotions running through your head, knowing that he's okay, but knowing you can't have him back because it will change the timeline.
Sie ist noch nicht offen.
Eating the apple just like before. Is that a reference as well? Adam and the apple.
Sie warten auf dich.
Is he gonna go meet the whole society?
Du willst doch nach Hause. Das sagen sie jedenfalls. Wer ist sie?
They know he's desperate to go home so they can manipulate him. Because they know he will work for Claudia as well later when he's the stranger.
Hat gesagt, es gibt ein Schlupfloch.
Wer?
Adam,
Wer ist Adam?
der Anführer von Sigmundus.
There's a loophole.
Er will, dass der letzte Zyklus beginnt. In 3 Tagen. Ich muss ihn stoppen.
He's only got 3 days to stop it. It feels like that might be leading up to the season finale, but then what of season 3?
Aber am Ende ist sie genau das geworden, was sie bekämpfen wollte.
Gotta make sure the stranger doesn't become what he's fighting as well. I mean, he already kind of has with how he was manipulated by Claudia. This whole chapel being built. Will we see older Noah here too at the same time? Oh, imagine if older Noah brought Bartosz along. He just walks in and Bartosz is there too.
Es muss eigenartig sein, mich hier zu sehen. Vor allem nach unserer letzten Begegnung.
What was their last encounter? I can't remember. Two of you in the same room.
Willst doch endlich Antworten haben.
So many secrets. Oh yeah, their last encounter was when Jonas was like trapped, right? Come on. Let's put it all together, put the pieces together. They have the time machine there. Parents aren't home. The rest of them. Again, a montage. Gotta love it. Oh, it's an elevator. Oh, they've got like a secret underground base then? Oh, okay, into another segment of the games. Okay. Yeah. Like a temple. See, younger Noah is still being left out a bit. Has she got it stabilized? Okay, not yet. Can you walk into it unstabilized? Like, what would happen then? I'm still questioning her identity because we've only known her as girl from the future.
Was ist das?
A part of God, they say. Sigmundus say. Okay, she believes it's part of the devil. Oh, there's the last pages, angels, and like a wormhole diagram.
Buch, wer hat es geschrieben?
Did the prophecy originate from Claudia? The book was written by Claudia.
Es geschrieben hat Zukunft und Vergangenheit bereits gesehen.
They've already seen all.
Der für ihn vorbestimmt ist. Damit der letzte Zyklus beginnen kann.
Putting him on the path that they want. Okay, he's gonna talk with Adam. Oh, go and have a look at that shelf over there with all of the photos of everyone. There's that painting again.
Das Reisen geht nicht spurlos an einem vorbei. Der menschliche Körper ist auf Dauer nicht dafür geschaffen.
Is that all consequence of his traveling? This damage to him?
Wer sind Sie?
Kannst du dir das nicht denken?
Oh my god. What?
Das kann nicht sein.
So the stranger eventually becomes him.
Ich bin du.
Okay, so that was season 2, episode 4 of Dark. What is happening? Okay, Adam is Jonas. I had to take a while after recording just to think about it, take some notes, write everything down. So Adam is Jonas, and like, what does that mean for Sigmundus, for the stranger, for the stranger's relationship to Claudia, what Sigmundus's goals are? Because, you know, the stranger, as we've seen him before, he was working with Claudia, working against Sigmundus, and now he is the leader. And just like, how does that make sense? But we know, like, the stranger obviously knows that he becomes Adam eventually, because he was where Jonas is now. He's been in that position. So my thought is he is like in denial for a bit and is working with Claudia, being manipulated by Claudia, and then after what happened at the end of season 1, after his manipulation, being manipulated by Claudia, then he changes teams and becomes Adam to be against Claudia, and we still don't really know what Sigmundus's like overall goal is. Of course, they want this new cycle to begin. They want the apocalypse to happen in 3 days. So we had that, you know, the scene of the reveal. I kind of was thinking that before we actually saw, there was a few things, just kind of like when they were standing looking at each other, there's a few like match cuts where they're both like standing in the same place. I was like, oh, is it? And then very confirmed when he takes it off. I just wasn't sure whether, you know, sometimes I'm like, oh, am I just reading too much into it? Should I say, or should I just let it play out? But yeah, it was actually him. Jonas is Adam. There was like a shot where they're both standing facing each other. They're like the same height, and even in the composition of some of that, when Jonas was going into like the room where that happened, all of the shots, there's like a lot of symmetry in the cinematography as well. I noticed that after, but yeah, like all of those shots showed a lot of symmetry, like even, you know, in the layout of the room, they're kind of thematically showing that, which is cool. So we know, you know, Jonas's fate is to become Adam and be covered head to toe in these scars, and he says, time traveling takes a physical toll on you. And I guess that's the scars we see on the stranger, because I commented earlier in the video saying, oh, we still need to see how he gets those scars. Obviously he's got the neck one now, but we see, you know, he had scars all on his back, so I assumed those were injuries he gets during his time as the stranger, but they could be backlash from time traveling so much, and that gets so much worse and worse that, you know, he becomes Adam, this form that he is in now. But, you know, Adam has been a character that has been portrayed as almost the big bad of this show up until now, and now we know Jonas, probably I would say our main character. I wouldn't say there is like one specific main character, but Jonas was definitely one of them. I feel like Ulrich was in season 1, but his role has kind of died down a bit. But Jonas, you know, one of the main characters here, he becomes the antagonist. Of course, we don't truly know what Adam's intentions here are. It could be the case that once we learn them, we might come to understand and agree. But we also know not to think things in black and white. There's no such thing as good and evil in here. Everyone's got their own motivations. Don't think of things in terms of two sides, you know. But I am really wondering, you know, what is it that causes Jonas / the stranger to become like Adam and do what he's doing? You know, he's so kind of manipulative, pulling the strings from afar. Jonas, he wants to fix the timeline. He just wants everything to end to fix the timeline. But Adam, he wants all of this to happen. So Adam's goal was obviously controlling the timeline, manipulating things. But why does he want this specific pattern of events occurring right now? Why does he want that to happen? We just don't know that. And we saw, maybe not foreshadowing, but like the way the stranger was talking and the way young Noah was talking, when Jonas first met young Noah said, "Oh, you're not how I expected you." So I'm guessing that young Noah and current Noah do know that Adam is Jonas. I imagine that is the case. So young Noah said, "This isn't how I expected you." And then the stranger also said there was like this loophole that was promised. I don't know, maybe that loophole was just a ruse to get Jonas to do what Adam wants. But there's like some sort of promise that Adam is going to make here, or he's going to give some information that is going to set Jonas on a path to become the stranger, obviously. But it seems like whatever Adam says here, his goal really is to get Jonas to end up where Adam is now, because he can't manipulate his younger self too much, because if he does, then what Adam is at the moment wouldn't come to pass. The future, you can't manipulate the younger self you to do something that would change their future, therefore not making you exist. His whole path, his whole motivation with younger Jonas here is to get younger Jonas into the position where he will eventually become Adam, and Adam already knows exactly how to manipulate him to become Adam because he has already been through that, So whatever Adam is actually doing and manipulating younger Jonas for is going to end up with younger Jonas becoming Adam eventually, And we see the stranger say things play out how they are supposed to, which is what Adam wants. Adam is manipulating the timeline so things are playing out like they are supposed to. So I don't know if that is us seeing the stranger, his like first steps into becoming more like Adam, because obviously the stranger, he is holding some information back from everyone. He's been holding the Sigmundus Adam information back this entire time, but he was holding stuff back from Hannah that's come to light now, and they've shared a bit more information. They've talked about Adam a little bit there, but he didn't reveal that Adam and him were the same person. It was nice having all of the adults kind of teaming together. That's what I really love. These different pair-ups we are getting now. I think maybe on the family tree, I'm going to get rid of the yellow lines, which are the lines that mean working together, because at this point, almost like every character has worked with another character at some point somewhere along the story. I think that would just like clean it up a bit, because now we have all of the adults working together. Hannah called Charlotte, which I was a bit shocked that she did at first, but I think it was a good move, them putting their collective forces together and working together, and then bringing in Katerina as well and explaining everything. Obviously, she didn't believe it at first, but she went off and got her own confirmation, so she will probably be back to question everything that's happening, and they can see what they want to do here. And then we have all of the kids working together. They still know nothing of the time travel, but they run into Bartosz in the cave, beat him up, take his time machine. They are now in possession with a time machine. So if the kids and the adults team up, the adults know about the time travel, the kids have the time machine, they could be, getting up to some time travel. Katerina going to visit Mikkel or Ulrich in prison. Obviously, maybe they don't want to change the timeline too much, but maybe there is something they want to do. Maybe they do want to change the timelines. And I could imagine like a big twist for like the season finale being something happens, someone goes somewhere, they go back in time, and then they come back to the point where they were, and the timeline is completely different, and they've like fundamentally changed something and like really messed up the timeline. Like someone in 2019 goes back to 86, then comes back to 2019, and it's like post-apocalyptic. Obviously we've seen post-apocalyptic in 2052, but you know, it like something fundamentally changes and it's created like a splintering timeline or something, and then season 3 you'll go back and fix what you changed or something. I think that would be really cool. That seems like a good cliffhanger for the end of a season, and then like struggling with the consequences of that in season 3. That sounds like that would be really interesting, but of course I don't really have a clue where this show is going, and the show is probably like 3 steps ahead of me, you know. But I did have this thought, you know, we have Sic Mundus, this group that is headed up by Adam, aka Jonas, and then we have this group of adults who are starting to experiment with time travel, research into time travel, and Jonas is there in the form of the Stranger. Are these like 2 opposing groups, or are we seeing like a fledgling Sic Mundus being created here, and these are actually like the founding members, and at the moment they're almost going up against themselves, like a version of themselves, but they don't realize they've actually got the same goals to control the timeline, because they realize this timeline was the best for everyone. We still don't really know the members of Sic Mundus apart from Adam, Noah and Agnes, but like even in the photo there was no one recognizable to me. But it could be the point that you know, Charlotte is part of Sic Mundus, and Charlotte just looks older in the photo of everyone at Sic Mundus, or there's like children or characters we know now who are members of Sic Mundus. That could be interesting. And of course Noah does know who Charlotte is, because there was that whatever happened at the end of last episode where Charlotte is somehow a key in all of this, and her, you know, starting to do the research now, that kind of makes sense. She is researching into the time travel, so she could be, maybe there's this group, obviously I don't know what to call them, I'm just calling them the adults. Maybe she actually forms like a counter group going up against Sic Mundus, but then like eventually Jonas here defects from that group. But then we also have Claudia. I don't know if she has like a specific name for her group, but she is working against Sic Mundus as well, you know. Don't think of things in pairs. Sometimes there's more than 2 things going on at once, so there's like 3 different teams essentially, perhaps, all going up against each other, all wanting different timelines to be created. That's kind of what could be happening in the future for this group of adults, you know. But then we also had this line from the Stranger saying she became what she was fighting in terms of Claudia, and that seems to be very much mirroring himself, because he was fighting Sic Mundus at one point. He was fighting himself, fighting Adam, and will eventually become Adam. So that was a bit like, maybe not even hypocritical for him to say, but maybe he was like acknowledging that he was seeing himself in that, in what he was saying, you know. And then there was just, I thought it was quite funny, you know. We've seen how Adam is manipulating things from a distance. He always has been, and he obviously picks it up from his mum, because Hannah has always been super manipulative as well. They both have that similar character trait of manipulating things. I do wonder, you know, with Hannah in this group of adults, does she have some ulterior motive that it feels like maybe she will be the one to do something that causes the like a timeline to shift, or cause a paradox or something? Like she goes and saves Ulrich, or I can't see why she would do anything with Mikkel, maybe to revisit her dead husband, but it's kind of hard to know what the dynamic between her and Mikkel and Michael was, just because like she was cheating with Ulrich that whole time. Like, how much did she actually love Michael/Mikkel? I'm not sure. I feel like you can't have gone that long, you know, not being able to stand him, but it could be the case that, I don't know, she just went along with him because he was available to her and he loved her, but maybe she didn't love him as much back, and she obviously liked Ulrich more from the beginning. It was fun to see, you know, right at the start, we saw younger Noah and then younger Agnes as well when they were young siblings, and then their mother, Erna. No, I'm not too sure if that was their mother actually, because they just called her Erna, not Mum. That was like a weird situation. It was like they owned a inn or something, because they'd obviously set up the bed for Jonas, but there were like older men in there, because for a bit I was like, oh, were they like orphans or something? But there were like older men, and it seemed like it was like in a bar kind of, so maybe they had like an inn / tavern / pub, that kind of thing, where they just had a spare room for Jonas, and they probably knew that Jonas was coming. At least Noah knew that Jonas was coming. So then with the kids who, you know, they went into the caves investigating, and they found Bartosz there, started questioning Bartosz, and they took the time machine from him. What was Bartosz actually doing? What has he been doing with these time machines? Obviously, we know he's been meeting with Noah lots and lots, but what does he, like, how much exactly does he know of everything, and how much is he being manipulated by Noah and Adam? But then what is he actually doing with this time machine? Obviously, he's up to something. He's just been somewhere maybe. But then also Noah would probably wanted this to happen, because they're trying to manipulate the timeline. So they probably sent Bartosz back there knowing that the time machine would be stolen from him. So this is probably all just still planned out. And that really brings into the question, like, the question of free will in all of this. Obviously the characters, they are acting with their own intention here, but when you have someone who has observed everything and there's like this prophecy, it's like, how much free will do they actually have? They are making their own decisions, but their decisions are things that have already been seen and are being slightly manipulated for them to be doing certain things, you know? And then we had like younger Noah talking to the older Noah about this prophecy and who wrote the prophecy. I don't know if the prophecy was kind of like part of Claudia's book, but they said like who wrote the prophecy, and it was someone who has seen all of time, the past and the future. So I feel like that could be Claudia they're talking about there, but maybe not. That was like my one thought on who it could have been. But maybe it could also be Adam who wrote the prophecy, and he is just saying that someone else wrote this prophecy. I'm not sure. And then I mentioned in maybe the last episode or a few episodes, you know, they're talking about Adam, and there's obviously the religious imagery of Adam and Noah, and I mentioned, is there an Eve to be the counterpart to Adam? But like, if there was, would that be Martha? Because Jonas and Martha are like a couple. Is it Adam and Eve, Jonas and Martha? Is that what's going on there? Maybe. But then on Martha, we have her having these dreams, and I was wondering if there's any more like significance to these dreams. And then this dream that she's had, this like sex scene between her and Jonas, is that not the same dream that Jonas has had before as well? And I was saying, like, you know, sometimes in time travel media, you have characters who have dreams or they have visions, and they are seeing into the future or seeing like echoes of timelines. And because they've both now had this same dream, is that like an event that they are seeing that has happened or will happen? But then we know like the apocalypse is happening in 3 days, so when would that happen? You know, they're both like seeing something. Are they seeing something more, or is it just they both have the same desire to be together? Obviously we haven't seen an Eve, we haven't seen an older Martha to be the counterpart to Adam. I would imagine she's just, you know, part of Secmundus as well. So is there anything more there with the religious names Adam and Eve, but then like Adam and Eve, they commit the original sin. Have Jonas and Marta done something that is considered this original sin? They've done something really bad that's gonna mess up the timeline, or they already have done something really bad? Or is like this apocalypse the original sin? Because we also have lots of imagery with Noah and the apple as well, taking the bite of the apple. And then like in the story of Adam and Eve, you have Lucifer there as well, who is the one who kind of goads them and tempts them in. And they say, Elizabeth said in this episode that the God particle portal wormhole, that was the devil itself. So is it like them being tempted in by the time travel, and that was the sin, the time travel that messes up the entire timeline? I'm trying to think of who do we have like an original time traveler, although the thing is there such thing as an original time traveler with the way time works, you know? Could it be both of them? They were the original time travelers or something, and that was like the original sin, and everything we're seeing now is almost punishment. Just trying to think of like the religious metaphor there, you know? And of course the Noah one, I think the Noah one, it does make a bit of sense. Noah's Ark, him trying to save people, although he is killing people and he's being manipulated by Adam. I'm assuming he is, you know, maybe doing this to keep this timeline the way it is, because this is the timeline that he believes is best, or is being manipulated into believing is best. So it's like his way of potentially saving people, but it maybe in order to save people he had to, you know, experiment on the kids and kill the kids earlier. We then also have Detective Clausen doing his thing. You know, he's very much in the dark at the moment, but he is picking up things, you know. He knows about Alexander's, he doesn't know about his birth name, but he knows that he took the Tieselman name, and then Alexander has had this fake name, Kohler, for a while, which I wonder, like, has he always had that as his pretend birth name, or did he just come up with that on the spot right there? But it seems like Clausen might be getting to the bottom of Alexander soon, but I'm not sure how much is there, and would Clausen ever actually, you know, figure out the time travel? And then there's this conversation he has with Waller about, oh, why are you here specifically on this task force? And he says he volunteered. So, like, is there some grander reason why he would want to come here and investigate Winden and all of these children disappearing? You know, I had this thought that maybe he is part of Secundus and investigating what all of these characters, you know, what do they know? But it could be anything really. I'm trying to think of, like, oh, is he someone we know but grown up? I do feel like he has a little bit of resemblance to Alexander, but I can't imagine any way that would work, like him being an older Bartosz, but I can't. Bartosz, the face shape is just way too different. I feel like there is something a bit deeper with him, but I don't really have that many theories at the moment, apart from maybe him being part of Sigmundus, or like him being related to someone. All of the kids that have gone missing, he can't be any of those, because we've seen Eric's dead body, we've seen Yasin's dead body. Obviously he isn't Mikkel, because Mikkel becomes Michael. So yeah, there's nothing. I don't have any solid theories for him yet, but I am suspicious of him, you know. We also had a bit of Claudia's journey. That was fun, seeing her in the modern day, interacting with modern technology. I have to say, you know, for someone from the 80s having no knowledge of how technology advances. She picked up on that pretty quick, the touch screen and everything. You know, there's people around today who've been around since the 80s and have lived through the technological advancement who are still no good with technology. So she did a very good job catching up on that. But yeah, she does her own bit of research, researches her own name, researches her dad and sees that he does die in like 2 days' time. He must die before the apocalypse happens, obviously. But she has this time machine so she can freely go back and forth. She sees who it is that Regina eventually will marry, which is very interesting. Does she know about Boris/Alexander at this point? Obviously, we know Regina and Alexander, they have been, you know, meeting up and hanging out a bit, but I don't know how much of that Claudia knows. She obviously seen that she keeps herself a bit more well-kept with her hair and everything. But is she like suspicious that, oh, she's seeing boys now perhaps? I'm not sure. But she sees that her dad, Egon, will die soon. And I'm not sure, like, is that because of the cancer? Because that seems very quick. But it seems like he had the diagnosis like a while ago perhaps. So maybe it does just catch up to him at that point. Or is there something more to his death and it's not actually cancer? The cancer is like a red herring and his death will be something more shocking. You know, I can't remember seeing an actual reason of death when she was doing that research. So obviously I can't read German as well, so it might be there was actually more written in there that I couldn't understand and the subtitles only translated a few things for me. So I do wonder that, is it the cancer or is it something more, or I'm not sure what more it would be, but we know to expect that. And is she going to do something now to try and stop that? But of course, if she does that, it will change the timelines. The cancer isn't something that she can save him from, but if it's something that isn't like an accident or an attempt at a murder or something, then she can save him, and that will obviously alter timelines. But then it could be the case that someone stops her from changing things, or like the older version of Claudia is there to say, hey, you need to let this happen. That would be a cool scene. I'm not sure how much of the older version of Claudia we're going to get from now on, because it seems like she's like at the end of her journey, really. Obviously, we've seen her die, but because she can time travel, would there be a chance we see her? I'd say probably not, just because of how things work with the 33-year intervals. Because it's like we have almost 5 timelines, but they're all running in parallel, really. And you can jump between them, but you can't jump backwards, you know? Because it's like, if it's whatever the date is, June 21st, is June 21st in all of them. You can only travel to the June 21st of them. So you can't travel to the June 19th of them, can you? So I guess that wouldn't work. But that could be something that spurs her on even more to save Regina, because that seems like that was what the older Claudia was going for. So it could be the case like, oh, I couldn't save my dad, but I'm going to save my daughter, because there's maybe more of a chance she could save her daughter. She's got like 33 years more to prepare for it, you know? And then like also speaking of religious imagery, there was like when they went to this underground Sigmundus headquarters, they've like descended down. It's almost like they've descended down into hell. We've also heard the phrase the White Devil, which I'm not quite sure the meaning of, but could that be referring to Adam? Because Adam, obviously, he views his actions as good, but it could be the case that it's not. And, you know, there's things that are interpreted as good or interpreted as evil, like the God particle portal, the big orb. It's like, is that was called, oh yeah, that's part of God, but then Elizabeth also said it's actually the devil. So Adam, he views himself as Adam. That's like a name he's given himself. But is he also the White Devil? Like other people call him the White Devil. But yeah, that whole scene, you know, they've descended down underground and there's this big door. That big door is like, it predates everything else. It's got Sigmundus written on it. It almost looks like it's been there since ancient times, this underground bunker. So how long has that been there? How long have people been worshipping Sigmundus? Because Sigmundus is Latin, like, does it have origins from ages and ages ago? But then I've assumed that it is Adam / Jonas / a stranger who started everything, who started the Sigmundus Society. I mean, that could still be the case. Obviously, he's a time traveler. We know you can travel in 33-year leaps, but, you know, has he just gone back hundreds of years by going 33 years at a time and then coming back to where he is? I guess that could be a possibility. But yeah, this like Sigmundus underground base, it feels very ancient and very ethereal, almost like it's been there for ages. Obviously much older than Winden itself perhaps, but then the interior of it is obviously quite modern for the time. I did notice, you know, they're still using candlelight. They're still limiting themselves a little bit to the technology of the time, which I found weird. You know, you'd think, well, you're a time traveler, you kind of have access to all this knowledge, all this technology, but it could be the case that like the infrastructure isn't there for them to have electricity down there perhaps, but there must be like some futuristic gadget that generates electricity, I don't know. But yeah, you know, they're using like candlelight, but the furnishings, they had like lamps and things, but the lamps were, they had like lit by candles, but they looked like almost mid-century modern lamps. So it's like a combination of time points, maybe a little bit, but that like the exterior of that big grand gate with Sigmundus carved on it with like the pillars, that looked very ancient, didn't it? And then speaking back again of the far future, 2052, it seems like there is a point where Sigmundus has taken control. They are obviously manipulating Elizabeth a bit. You know, she said, oh, they call it a part of God, but maybe Elizabeth is like doubting them a bit. And of course we have the girl from the future, that is how she's credited. We still don't know her identity. I am very curious about her too. Who she could be. She could be anyone we know. It's probably, she's the daughter of someone we know, you know, but it'd be interesting to see, you know, if she's the daughter of someone we know, who are the parents? If we find out, oh, she's Marta's kid, who's the parent? You know, is it Bartosz or is it Jonas? There's some fun possibilities there, or is it someone you wouldn't imagine, you know? So thinking of the parents of her would be interesting as well. So I think that's everything. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, consider leaving a like or a comment. If you really loved it, be sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on all the future uploads. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.